Welcome to the Mission Report with Chris Dush. President Thomas Jefferson issued a timeless warning against the unavoidable consequences of massive taxation and unsustainable deficit spending when he made this statement. To preserve our independence, we must not let our rulers load us with perpetual debt. We must make our determination between economy and liberty or servitude. I place economy among the first and most important of Republican virtues, and public debt as the greatest of the dangers to be feared. It's important to note here, Jefferson was saying this before there was a Republican Party. We are in a republic, not a democracy. It's sad that we have to say that, but in today's environment, it has to be said. With that said, I'm honored to welcome my good friend, Pennsylvania Treasurer Stacey Garrity, to the Mission Report podcast. As the 78th Treasurer of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, business executive and retired U.S. Army Colonel Stacey Garrity remains laser focused on financial transparency, cutting waste, and taxpayer fees, returning more than $4.5 billion in unclaimed property to its rightful owners. Overseeing an office of more than 300 employees, Treasurer Garrity serves as the Commonwealth's top fiscal watchdog and is tasked with protecting more than $170 billion in assets. Prior to being elected to her first term in November 2020, Treasurer Garrity served a remarkable 3 deployments in defense of the United States, including Operation Desert Storm, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and Operation Enduring Freedom. While news raged about the scandals involving prisoner abuse at other facilities, Stacey was decorated for her stellar performance as the officer in charge of an internment camp for enemy combatants in Iraq. Iraqis dubbed Colonel Garrity as the angel of the desert for her humane treatment of detainees, demonstrating the nature of the people of the United States. This actually helped her establish a perfect record in keeping the camp secure and American troops safe. She accomplished this mission without a single complaint of abuse from the Iraqi soldiers interned there. Her civilian record is outstanding and translated well into her position of Pennsylvania Treasurer. She rose to the ranks at Global Tungsten and Powders to become vice president of the second largest smelting operation in the world, helping to expand operations into other countries. Treasurer Garrity, it's an honor to have you on today's Mission Report podcast. I only touched on your experience, so could you please provide our audience with some more insights on your military and corporate experience and how they prepared you for your daily responsibilities?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, Senator Dush, thank you so much for having me on the show. So I did have the great honor to serve more than 30 years, retiring at the rank of colonel with 3 combat deployments all to the Middle East. And my third and final deployment was to Iraq as part of Operation Enduring Freedom. I was acting battalion commander at Camp Bucca, which is in southern Iraq. And at that camp, we had 7,000 detainees, which were green, meaning they would be repatriated back to their home someday. I had 225 detainees on death row, and I had 1,200 soldiers under my command. So we were the very first internment facility to have 0 escape attempts and 0 abuse allegations. So I was really blessed for that. And I have to tell you, if it weren't for that thing called your mandatory retirement date, which I hit in 2016, I would not be here as the state treasurer. I would still be serving, because serving was and is the greatest honor of my lifetime. But, you know, we've talked about this before. We have the Army values. And so I have lived the Army values in the military, in the private sector, and brought them over to Treasury. And those military values are loyalty, duty, respect, service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. And so I always say, if you're living the Army values, you can't go wrong. I've also tried to run Treasury like a business. So all those experiences have led me to where I am today. And it's pretty amazing, because I have to also say, you know, I'm from Bradford County, which is one of the most rural counties in the Commonwealth. And I am honored to be the first treasurer in over 40 years from a rural county. So now I offer protection in a little bit of a different way. It's now my responsibility to protect more than $170 billion in state assets. And we run a lot of consumer programs. We do $50 billion of direct investments. I sit on 17 boards, but I will highlight that I have made it a priority to return them more than $5 billion, yes, that's billion with a B, and unclaimed property to our hardworking Pennsylvanians. And that includes individuals, it includes businesses, it includes local government agencies like townships and school districts.
We had in February of 24, 44 local residents and employers who stopped by the unclaimed property clinic that my team and yours hosted in the Heritage House in Brookville. They were helped by a member of your team. And can you talk a little bit about the success of that event?
Yes. So first I'll mention that since taking office, we've actually returned more than $1 billion to hardworking Pennsylvanians. And you know, I always like to say this. This is money that does not belong to the state. It belongs to the hardworking Pennsylvanians that earned it. And so we're really trying to get it back into their hands because, you know, a family struggling, a little bit of money can really help, you know, put food on the table, fill up their gas tank. But that event was fantastic. It was a free event, obviously, and it resulted in the return to the personal bank accounts of hardworking families and the regional economy just about $290,000, which was fantastic. But there were a couple notable returns. So that included more than $121,000 to an individual and more than $9,000 to a local municipality. So best of all, we just did a recent search and there's about $25 million in additional unclaimed property still waiting to be claimed across Senate District 25.
Yes. That's amazing. 25 for 25. Got 25. And you know what? To our residents, that is huge. And the one 120 over $121,000, the guy was in tears. I mean, he was on hard times and he'd had no idea that he had that. Can you talk just a little bit about how that money gets there?
Yeah, absolutely. So after 3 years of dormancy, financial institutions are required to send the money to the state. And so it could be dormant bank and checking accounts. It could be uncashed checks, rebates, old insurance policies, and so much more. And we also get tangible items, and they mainly come from abandoned safe deposit boxes, but we also get items from police evidence lockers.
Yeah, among those are some military veteran medals and that kind of thing. Do you want to touch on how you've been able to, you have really touched the hearts of a lot of folks out there. Can you describe a little bit about how that has played out?
Yeah, so because I'm a veteran, you understand this, returning the military decorations that we get, and those are in abandoned safe deposit boxes, are really near and dear to my heart because every single decoration, it's really a symbol of somebody's story and the sacrifice of not only the veteran, but also the family that they have made to protect all of us. And so since taking office, I've returned more than 515 military decorations. That includes 13 Purple Hearts, 3 Bronze Stars, and a Gold Star medal. So our most recent return was the 13th Purple Heart, and it was on Purple Heart Day. And it was to the son of a Vietnam veteran who actually worked at Fort Indiantown Gap. So we went to the Gap, we had a ceremony just on August 14th, and his dad had passed away at a young age from a house fire. And so this was really emotional for him. So when we got this medal, there was no known owner of this Purple Heart, but the dad's name was engraved on the back. And so with some detective work, we tracked down the son. And so we had a ceremony. It was very emotional, and he was just delighted to get his dad's Purple Heart and some other decorations back.
And like I said, that is just, it means, what it means to those individuals is just, you can't describe it. And you see the emotion on people's face when they get those things back. It's just tremendous. Roughly how much is still sitting there in unclaimed property? And
So as far as military decorations, we still have about 500. So I want to mention, if anybody wants to search, you can just go to Treasury's website and see if you recognize any family members, because it's sorted by county. So that's patreasury.gov/unclaimed property/medals. Now, I also want to mention that in addition to the military decorations, we have thousands of tangible items that are safeguarded in Treasury's vault, which, fun fact, our vault is the largest working vault in the nation. So that is super cool. So right now, I just want to mention, because you'll get a kick out of this, a few of our most interesting items are some guitars that are autographed by Red Hot Chili Peppers, Guns N' Roses, and Rolling Stones. And we also recently got 3 Penn State bull rings.
oh, wow.
Yes.
That's amazing. And Penn State's in my district. Folks, if you know anybody there that was in one of the bowls, have them get a hold of the treasurer's office and see if it's one of theirs, if it's a family member or whatever. That's exciting. On the monetary side, how much money is still sitting in there?
Oh my gosh. So we still have $5 billion because we get every year so much more than we can give back. And that's because these holder reports, I don't want to get too weedy, but they're just becoming more sophisticated. So even though we've given back $1 billion, and we broke a record 2 fiscal years ago, returning, gosh, it was 244 million. And then we just broke, no, it was 274 million. And then we just, this year that just ended, we broke our record, our own record, and about 278 million. So really proud about that. But more than 1 in 10 Pennsylvanians has unclaimed property. The average claim is about $1,000. And I checked for Pennsylvanians in all of the counties that you cover, Chris. So this would be more than your constituents. And there is over $45 million in unclaimed property waiting to be claimed.
Hey, and you know what? You've got this new program, Money Match. Can you explain how you're going to be using that to help get some of that money out?
Yes, I absolutely love Pennsylvania Money Match. I really do. So it is a brand new program, and I have to thank you in the General Assembly because it was started out as Senate Bill 24. It passed unanimously, something almost unheard of, right, in Harrisburg. So actually eliminating red tape from government, how great is that? But what Money Match does, it allows Treasury for the first time ever to return unclaimed property automatically. So property values up to $500 to single owners. And so what we do is, so we started this just this year. And last month we sent out 80,000 good news letters. So these are a letter from our office telling folks, you know what, you have money and you're going to have a check coming. It's your money. It's a real program. Cash your check. Say it in a nicer way than that. And then hopefully you follow up with a postcard that says, hey, you're going to be getting a check from the Treasury. It's a real program. It's real money. It's your money. So go ahead and cash the check when you receive it. So I know that 1,000 of your constituents received one of those letters in the mail last month. So they'll be getting a check in their mailbox in early September. So we've returned so far over $10 million with Money Match, and by the end of this calendar year, our goal is to return $40 million. So we're really excited about this program.
I'm excited about it too, because it very much it shortens the bureaucracy, but more importantly, there are people sitting there that don't even know they've got this money coming. And there's no need for this, the state to be holding on to it.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, before we move on, I want to stay with this topic for just a second. I want to emphasize to our viewers, you never have to pay anybody or to make your claim. My team and Treasurer Garrity's team, they both are ready, and state legislators across the Commonwealth are very familiar with this process. Don't let anybody tell you that you need to pay for their services in order to make this happen. So, and I know you're very, Treasurer, you're very, that's something that's near and dear to your heart as well.
It is. There are finders and they will take a fee, and you do not ever need to use a finder. You can just call my office. You can call the senator's office. We have people that will help you. They will walk you right through it. And honestly, I do this every single day. I get a text from somebody, Senator Dush, and they'll say, hey, I have unclaimed property, or I'll see somebody, you know, one of the events that I go to, because I do go to all 67 counties. So every single day, I think I am sending a screenshot or a text to my team, and they immediately call the individual and get them their money back.
That's amazing. And I love how you're so responsive to these folks. And you are, I can testify, you've been in all 67 counties more than once. So
5 times.
yeah. So do you want to mention the Treasury, well, individuals that want to independently search the unclaimed property database, you can do it by logging on to www.patreasury.gov. Is that correct?
It is so easy. You can actually take your cell phone and you can just go to patreasury.gov/unclaimed property. A little screen will come in, pop your name in it, and you'll see if you have some money. And we've streamlined this process, so it takes just a couple of minutes to go ahead and process the claim. And while you're in there, you might as well search for any organizations you're part of, any nonprofits, and search for your family and your friends. And I promise you, you're going to know people that have unclaimed property. You can call them up and yeah, call them up and you know, tell them you want to cut. I'm just kidding, but
Well, you know what? This is, you and I both are experienced with dealing with bureaucrats and bureaucratic processes and stuff. This is just totally unheard of, the way that you've streamlined this process. And I know PN. I know he had a significant part of this, and
absolutely
grateful for his work and what he's done to for the transparency side, as well as doing this type of thing that gets the assets back out to the people. So
I am blessed to have a wonderful team.
yes.
And I remember when I won, you called me and you said, whatever you do, keep PN.
And it's paid dividends for you, I will say that.
It has.
I want to move on now. During the 2015 budget impasse, I worked together with a couple other state representatives to uncover Governor Wolf's now infamous Ledger 5. Ledger 5 is quite mysterious to most people, accounting mechanism frequently used by the executive branch to move non-budgeted mandated expenditures between state accounts. Governor Wolf was using it basically as a slush fund during the budget impasse that went out to December. He was paying for things like pontoon boats for DCNR they were not authorized. There was a bunch of stuff. It wasn't just that. Those aren't authorized in a budget impasse under the Constitution, but at the same time, he's withholding payments to constitutionally mandated health, safety, and welfare programs to our schools. When you were on the campaign trail and we got to talking about this, you started digging into it. And what I love, this is another example of your responsiveness. You immediately started working with PN and others to create on the transparency web portal, you posted Ledger 5 out there so everybody can see it. And when the money's starting to move across accounts, it's very transparent now. What other measures have you put in place to ensure that the budget expenditures are necessary and they don't exceed the appropriations authority?
So there's a couple of things. First, as you know, we have a fiscal review department, and so they review 86.4% of all dollars that go through Treasury, they do a pre-audit. And they audit everything right now during a budget impasse, obviously,
Yeah.
right? Because we have to. But this past year, we stopped $1.7 billion in improper payments from going out the door. And some of those get corrected and they go back through, but true savings is just about $50 million. And so that's one thing we did. The other thing when I took office, as you know, we have that transparency portal, which is award winning. So we added a specific page called Ledger 5. And I know that sounds mysterious, but what we worked to shine a bright, shiny light on it and on a process that in the past left most Pennsylvanians in the dark. So Pennsylvanians weren't able to see how money that was not appropriated was being spent. So now, if you look at the page now, you can see every dollar that hasn't been appropriated that has been expended. And right now, we're in a budget impasse, and you're going to see if you get on there and look at Ledger 5, as of August 14th, there was roughly $5.4 billion that we've had to pay out. And most of it is Department of Health and Safety. But you know what? This is taxpayer money. Taxpayers have the right to see how it's being spent. And that's why I'm always working with PN and the team to make the transparency portal better than ever. And we have some great changes coming soon that I cannot wait to announce.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. You guys, it's been a steady march to transparency since you've been in office, and I truly appreciate it because it's helped us out in the budget negotiations and helping us to hold the line. The fact that you had was a $1.5 billion in improper payments, but I understand there's about 50 million that was definitely not supposed to happen. But just the fact that you've got that much of the state budget where things weren't done properly, it just opens the door for fraud, waste, and abuse. And the fact that people know that you're there and your team is there auditing it, I think that goes a long way to stopping even the temptation to do stuff like this.
I think so as well, because it was interesting, set aside now the budget impasse, but once we added that Ledger 5 to the transparency portal, it was really interesting. There weren't so many payments going through Ledger 5 any longer.
I know when Seth Grove and I were going through it, we were going through page by page. We didn't have it on the transparency portal, but literally the stack of notes was this high, and we had to go through them by hand. And the reasoning was quite nebulous at the time on a lot of those, and it was hard to track. And the fact that you've put up the money transfers as well as the in a PDF form the notes, that's huge, because now I've got over 250,000 people who can put their eyes on it, and if they see something that shouldn't be done, they can bring it to our attention. So it's just wonderful. So something else you've done, you and I both know what things are like in the Middle East from our time over there. And Pennsylvania's got an enduring bond with Israel that goes back to even the time of the revolution. It's forged on the shared values of liberty, freedom, and unyielding pursuit of peace. As fiscal stewards of this Commonwealth, we must never cave to the ideological weaponization of the purse strings, which a lot of people have tried to do with the BDS and that kind of thing, especially when it's done to support causes of terrorism and religious oppression. As we reflect on the upcoming anniversary of October 7th, 2023, it was perpetuated against Israel by the Hamas terrorists. I want to give you the opportunity to share the meaningful investments you've made as the Pennsylvania treasurer to stand with Israel and the Jewish people.
Absolutely. So Israel, as you know, is our greatest ally in the Middle East, and I will always stand with Israel. And I think it's important for Pennsylvania to show our steadfast report. And one way to show that support was investing $20 million in Israel bonds 5 days after the Hamas attack on October 7th. So we did this on October 12th, invested $20 million. And you know what? We also went ahead and invested $25 million just in June of this year. So, but you know what, Senator, we've been invested in these bonds since 1988 under 9 different treasurers, including 6 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and an independent. And you know what? They are dependable investments. They are safe, secure, and sought after. They enhance the portfolios of national, state, and local governments, other organizations, and individuals. And so, you know, it's a win-win. So we can stand with Israel, and it's a great investment for the Commonwealth. And of course, you know, I did get protested twice. The second protest, there was a die-in staged in front of my building, and of course, I got called by a bunch of people, and you know, they were all concerned that I would get a little squishy, and I said, no, they can come protest every day. It doesn't matter to me. So that was the end of the protest. But Israel has never defaulted, and I want to make sure that everybody knows that. And it right now, again, it's just especially important to show our support at a time when Israelis and Jews, both abroad and here in the United States, continue to face horrific acts of anti-Semitism.
Well, and the additional benefit is you are the fiduciary for the Commonwealth, and the return on investment being one of the most secure, as well as some of the best performing bonds that are out there. So you're helping our Treasury out right now, bringing in more money.
That's right.
Yeah, I am so proud to have shared our time together, serving both in the military and alongside in state government. We both have servants' hearts, and yours has been obvious from the first time I met you, and I'm grateful that you've taken a stand to get yourself into this position and do the things that you've been doing. Now, we're almost out of time here, so where can our viewers stay up to date on all the important work that's taking place at the Treasury?
So thanks again for having me on. I have to say that it is really an honor to be the state treasurer, and every day that I get to wake up and serve hardworking Pennsylvanians is truly a blessing to me. But we did cover a lot of topics, and I am grateful for the opportunity to share more about Treasury's great programs with your constituents. For anyone who wants to learn more about unclaimed property, wants to learn more about the PA 529 College and Career Savings Plan, or PA ABLE, our program that helps Pennsylvanians with disabilities, or any other aspect of Treasury, our website, patreasury.gov, has a ton of great information, and make sure you follow us on social media.
Yeah, there's a lot of programs that you do have going. I'm glad you mentioned PA ABLE, and I'm sorry I didn't touch on it. My dad was a placement counselor for Voc Rehab. That program is just outstanding, and I know you're helping a lot of Pennsylvanians be able to prepare for their future. So I thank you for that as well. So I'd like to thank all of you who have tuned in to this episode of the Mission Report with Chris Dush, reminding everybody that we will be staying vigilant to defend our Constitution, and hope you do the same. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to visit www.senatordush.com. And thank you again for choosing the Mission Report podcast.